You know, I randomly checked out this film and I'm not mad at it. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but I'm definitely not mad at it, but ultimately excited to talk about it. So let's jump into my review of the new film, The Free Fall. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the film The Free Fall, which is going to have a limited theatrical release January 14th, and then I would imagine it would be available on digital and on demand. But there's a lot of reasons that lured me into this one. First off, I saw that this film was sponsoring a sports event that I was tuned into, and I was like, I keep seeing it all over their advertisement, and it was a wrestling show, to be honest. And it's rare that wrestling have sponsorships from film, so that it did its job. Because after that, I googled it and I was like, oh, The Free Fall, okay, let's see what this is about. And then it's a horror film, so I was like, okay. And then I started to weave in a little bit, and I seen this from the executive producer, one of the executive producers from Get Out. So there's also another thing there that I'm like, huh. Read the synopsis, I'm like, let's check it out. So a lot good going for it initially, but actually when I got into it, the film, for it to be a Gravitas film, which if you're not familiar with Gravitas does and distributes a lot of independent films, so sometimes it could be a hit or miss. This one was a hit, if you ask me, because the production was good. I felt like it really dove deep into all of the horror tropes, so it did a lot of good things that I liked. And then again, I thought performances, in conjunction with the production, everything just really came together good. Andrea Londo, who plays your lead Sarah, across from her husband Nick, who's played by Shawn Ashmore, they work really well together. Shawn actually is super creepy in this and really plays the part to really make Sarah character really work, because Sarah is going through a lot. And I almost want to say the easiest way to sum up what Sarah's going through is that Sarah has a suicide attempt, and now she's basically trying to recover. So there's some PTSD involved with this, which she's still seeing a lot of hallucinations, or are they hallucinations? Whatever it may be, and that's part of the the theme of the film, if what's reality and what's not. But she's struggling mentally, physically, and even the reality of the folks around her who are supportive, or are they supportive, counterproductive. There's a bunch of different things kind of happening to her as she has to go through this. And like, considering that her husband, the one that's right there with him, his character comes off really controlling, almost like a narcissist, but totally gaslighting her a lot of the film, and she is struggling to determine, is he for the better good or not, because it's really hard for her. And like, I mean, when she's even expressing some of her current feelings on certain situations or certain things that are triggering her, he's just kind of like, forget it. And like, the whole neighborhood knows, because I guess you can almost say like they're the perfect couple. So a lot of people envied them, and a lot of people looked up to them, whatever it may be. And even when they have a party in this film, you have ones expecting her recovery to just be a snapback. But it is a long journey for her, and a lot of things aren't helping. So this is truly a navigation for her of her own to really get back to where she wants to be. Now, again, this film does a lot. Some gore, because of the whole, hallucination aspects of this. There's some mind-bending aspects. The cinematography, especially low light, is pretty good. There is a sense of dread going on. Did I say gore? Gore, blood splatter, that's definitely in there, and so on. So the production is good. There is times where it kind of looks a little whatever, but again, for a independent film, which typically has a low budget, I thought it came together really well. The score was chilling, and again, when you're talking about a lot of the traditional and shall I say almost classic horror tropes, they hit them all. The person standing behind the person, you know, I think I see something there and then it's not there, all of that. It really gets into it. So that I liked about it, because I think it said that not only does this film, it doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it also doesn't try to step out on the limb and do something so unique that it doesn't work for them. So I guess they was one of those like, well, if it works, then use it type of thing. And that's kind of where they did with this. So, you know, I watched it twice and I was entertained. I definitely was. The film was about 1 hour and 20 minutes. So you breeze through it pretty seamlessly. And it does do a lot within the time given. But like, you know, with this whole feeling of like this, almost like a gothic atmosphere, and the atmospheric horror in itself really making this setting really appealing and enjoyable to really elevate everything that's happening in the film. I can't be mad at it at all. And to be honest, this is the film, even having a very limited theatrical release, I think it's a banger for a Friday night film. I think this is one of the ones you definitely go out on a date and check it out. I think that with either if you recognize the cast or you don't, I mean, it still is going to be really pleasing, because matter of fact, it will almost maybe better if you don't recognize the cast, because I think that also adds a little bit to the mystique of like how believable some of the events are. But the one thing that's truly is relatable to this is that everybody knows someone who's going through any form of PTSD, the recovery is not linear. So you know there's going to be ups and downs, and seeing Sarah's journey through this, from her highs and her lows, you sympathize with her. So you're really buying into her journey, and you really feel for her, and that makes you even more invested for everything that she goes through. And then Nick, her husband, is just there, just making you just want to snap his neck, because I swear he gets very unhinged at times. And then, with all that being said, as if you thought the film was done, it takes a very drastic turn towards the end, a turn that you didn't see coming, and I was like, okay, cool, there's the rest of the horror tropes right there. So there's that. But totally check out The Free Fall. Again, I think it's definitely worth a watch, whether it's on demand digital. If you have a chance to see it in the theater, do so. I enjoyed this film, and I'm curious to know what you all think. But jump in the comments, let me know your thoughts about it when you do, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.